information that a good number of surveyors had a meeting today, scheduled to end at 5. Maybe it has extended a bit, but because of time, we'll just start. The rest will find us along the way. So I take this chance to welcome you to this Geomatics book launch. There are a few copies in Kenya, and some early buyers already have copies of the book. So I'm Nation Adero, one of the 4 authors, and the book is Project Design for Geomatics Engineers and Surveyors, 2nd edition, that has been thoroughly updated following the release of the 1st edition many years ago in the year 2010. And publisher is Taylor and Francis Group, CRC Press. So I'll go straight away to the introduction, and I can see Professor Clement Ogaja has already joined us from the United States of America. The other co-author, Derek Koome, is working outside the country, outside Kenya, and may have some problem with the network connection. And so we'll just proceed. So I would like to welcome Clement, because you have just a short time to be with us. I would like to welcome Professor Clement Ogaja. If you can greet the audience, if there's something you can say, then we'll proceed. And if there's anything you can react to when you are still with us online, you'll be able to do the same. So I welcome you, Professor.
Thank you, Nation. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank you for putting together this virtual meet. And for those who don't know, I'm based in Colorado in the US. I'm currently with NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The agency within the NOAA that I work for is called National Geodetic Survey. So this is NGS. And again, I appreciate the support I've had about the feedback in Kenya. And I, together with the other co-authors, we are 3 co-authors, like Nation said, we really appreciate the feedback and the support so far. So I don't know, Nation, I don't know if you want me to say a few words or just introduce myself first, and then I can come back later. I can only be available until maybe 5 minutes to 7 your time. So if you want, I can say something now. If not, I can come back and say later.
Or if you'll be with us up to 5 minutes to 7, then you can say later, because this will be a brief session. Yeah. And I think you'll be able to say later after we have introduced our clans to what we have. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So I'll proceed with the presentation. And as you can see, we are saying it is Geomatics book launch. Meet the authors, and the first author has already introduced himself from the United States. He's with NOAA. I'm Nation Adero with you here in Kenya. TTU is Taita Taveta University, down in the coast, Voi. And the third author, Derek Koome, is a private surveyor, practicing surveyor, with his own company called Cheswick Surveys, but he's out of the country now, engaged in other assignments. So as I welcome you, I would like to start by saying that this has been a collaborative book project. We began way back in July 2021, and we are internationally exposed Kenyan surveyors engaged in research, many years of research, consultancy, public service, industry practice, training, and teaching at university. So we challenge ourselves to bring together all this experience we have to cross-fertilize the same and deliver it in the form of a book that addresses a key gap. And you will see some of the key gaps that we identified, which this book is addressing. And we are grateful for the high uptake of this book in Kenya and the prospects for the third edition based on the feedback we'll be getting from the readers. So as I proceed, one key message that will interest especially the youthful generation is that we as the authors have not met physically. We have never met physically. So we use the power of virtual collaboration, Zoom, Google Drive for collaborating on the writing, and email. So you can see what the power of virtual collaboration can deliver, and hence the post-COVID-19 remote work that we have been advocating for. Again, I would like to mention that the first author, Professor Ogaja, came to know me through a media article. And this is also counterintuitive because scholars normally believe that you will network through journal papers, but look at the power of the fourth estate, the media. He saw an article on the Business Daily by the Nation Media Group. I posted it on LinkedIn, and through that, he sent me a direct message, and we were able to collaborate on a book project way back in July 2021. And come August 2022, we were able to get the green light from Taylor and Francis Group that the book had been reviewed, and we had met the threshold. We had done the proofreading, and based on that, they could go ahead with publishing the book. So I would also like to say that there are key gaps that this book is addressing. It is a practice-oriented book. The first one is the urgency to address key gaps and missing links and barriers to entry into the world of work for young graduates and even for practitioners who want to make an impact. Because when you are practicing, you are in business. How can you develop winning proposals, for example? We have recognized the low state of preparedness of young graduates when they transition from academic knowledge to the dynamic world of work, and the future is geodata driven. We are talking about data-driven digital revolution, but if you look at it keenly, a larger share of that data is geodata, and hence the need to emphasize geomatics as part of the key skill sets that we need to make an impact in the future of work. We also notice suboptimal state of preparedness of graduates and practitioners when it comes to transferable and soft skills needed to prepare winning proposals, and this book addresses that. We also have the soft issues such as policy and regulatory issues, social, ethical, economic, and environmental issues. These are issues that we must address if we have to anchor our space competitively in the marketplace. And when we are competing for jobs, when we are competing for projects that can make an impact. Another gap is the local content. You'll agree with me that if you're a surveyor, there are many instances where we have been reading books which don't share local examples. So we challenged ourselves to come up with local content informed by our areas of work in our own countries and other work assignments abroad, which can be used as best practice. And based on that, we can share examples that students relate with and readers relate with. So if you read this book, you'll find several examples drawn from Kenya, for example. And for the first author who has been in Australia and the United States, he has brought on board key examples from Australia and from the United States that we can benchmark against. And then what of mentoring the youth? You can see that the third author, Derek Kome, is a young surveyor and is a member of the young surveyors community in Kenya. And senior researchers and lecturers need to mentor younger people so that they can also transition into professionals who can research, write, and advance knowledge and practice in geomatics and related disciplines. So that is what the kind of package that this book has brought and the key differentiators. So the table of contents, the book, part 1 gives you an overview of the project design process. And universities such as the University of Nairobi have courses at master's level, MS in GIS. There's a course there I'm familiar with that I taught some time back called GIS Project Management. And even professional bodies need to take their members through projects. And it is quite laughable sometimes. We used to take units such as management for surveyors at the University of Nairobi, but you are taught management for surveyors by someone who is not a surveyor. We'll be sharing examples on agribusiness, poultry farming, but surveyors deal with total stations, theodolites, levels, and infrastructure development. How will you transfer that kind of lesson into real world practice? So that is why this book is addressing the project design process from the perspective of geomatics professionals and surveyors, and you'll find it useful in that respect. Part 2 deals with contemporary issues, what we talked of, such as the policy, social, environmental, ethical issues, professional ethics. Then part 3, planning and design. And part 4, proposal development. And we have appendices. This second edition has 2 key chapters, which are additional. One on unmanned aerial systems, and the other on engineering and mining surveys. Most of the time when we talk of engineering surveys, we forget mining surveys. Yet, if you look at the future of our world, it is a mineral-driven future. We'll be talking of e-mobility. There's no e-mobility without the components of a car that are made using minerals, battery storage. We are talking of the future of aerospace research. These are heavily mineral-driven commitments and innovations. Hence, mining survey has a key role to play in our future, which is heavily mineral-driven, consumer electronics and all that. Even replacement surgery, we need minerals like titanium for that. So the question many of you will be asking is, how do we get a copy? If you are in Kenya, you can contact me on that number or email. You can view some of the author's copies that I have, and I can also share with you information on the availability of copies as they arrive, because as author, there are copies I can get directly from the publisher. You can also check the flyers, the author's flyer for discount offers. I'll share this presentation and you'll be able to download that flyer. If you use that flyer, you can get 20% discount. There's a discount coupon on it. And you can also order online at your own convenience from Amazon, for example, and it will be shipped to you. The introductory price on Amazon now is, from Amazon UK, is £85, and shipping cost about £23. So you can convert that one into Kenya shillings and see what it comes to. Then, just a few examples here. There are early buyers, the people we can call early adopters, and we are grateful that they have got copies of this book, autographed. And this is surveyor Chris Kinywa, when I was delivering to him one of the autographed copies in Hurlingham. And when we discussed, he challenged me with this paraphrased statement that tech evolves, but the core principles of surveying remain. So readers lead the way. And we are challenging the youth that they must read to lead. So this book is modern. We have new topics, new technologies such as GNSS, but we must read to grasp the key principles that anchor the profession. And the book begins with general considerations in the introduction for every chapter, so that the readers can be reminded of the basic principles that anchor the surveying profession, or geomatics in general, because you cannot go far without the first principles. Technology can only enhance the knowledge that we already have to inspire delivery to professional standards. So this is the last slide, which is feedback and acknowledgement. So as part of the feedback, I would like to say that we have some promotional material. For example, I have promotional material on mining surveys, a contemporary introduction for engineers and geoscientists. It has solutions to the exercises in chapter 10 of that book. The chapters have exercises, but these exercises don't share the solutions. But for those who have attended this meeting, have registered, you can now get solutions to the exercises. And there's also a free ebook that is on the future of Africa in the post-COVID-19 world, thanks to our collaboration with the Interregion Economic Network, IREN Kenya, whose CEO is James Shikwati. And this is also a book that is relevant, and the section dealing with youth and skills development will interest our young surveyors or geomatics engineers. Will be able to read this one, which is shared freely, so that you can also relate how is geospatial technology influencing the future of development and the future of work. Then under acknowledgements and feedback, everyone who has participated will be given time to comment any feedback, but we'll be very much interested to hear from the young surveyors, their representative. You have seen that quote that tech evolves, but core principles remain. Seven, the young surveyors must read. What of some early adopters, those who already have the book? What are some of the feedbacks they give us? For example, we got this feedback that some of the chapters may need to be rearranged in the third edition. And we have participants from the Kenya Chamber of Mines. They will be happy to know that this book has addressed mining surveys in one of its chapters. And IREN Kenya enactors, students and faculty. ESRI, I know is represented here. And the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya. If the Deputy President has joined us, or the President, I talked to the Deputy President, Eric Nyadimo, and he said he would spare time to come. So if he's there, he'll also be able to say something. And then my hosting institution, my place of work, Taita Taveta University, will be able to hear from the same. So far, so good. And then I know Clement will be able to share with you this. We also say that to get maximum output from this book, it is also proper to tell you what could be missing or what was overlooked. And when we went through the book again, it is very hard that in a printing process, everything will be 100%. So there are some 3 areas we noticed. One where we should have 60 degrees. It was written as 600, printed as 600. And you know, we are very well versed with the UTM system, UTM projection. The belts are 60 degrees wide, 6 degrees wide, sorry, 6 degrees wide, but it was printed as 60 degrees. So these are some of the typos during printing. You know, the superscript can come down and it is printed as a 0. And then I remember the last one is where we had National Geodetic Survey, which came out as National Geographic Survey. So these are the 3 areas that we noticed, but you'll be able to interact with the authors for any other constructive feedbacks. Thank you. And now I give the first author, Professor Clement Ogaja. Now you can add any other comments, because they would like to hear from all the authors if possible. You can add any other comments, then we'll be able to get feedback from the participants. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nation. Can you hear me and can you see my video? Hey, Nation, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Though we can't see the video, we can hear you.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I'll just keep going. So yeah, thank you again for your wonderful presentation on this new book. And first of all, I noticed somewhere in the social media, in one of those websites, today, March 23rd, 2023, is what they call Global Surveyors Days. I don't know if that's something you guys are aware, but I would like to wish you all a good Global Surveyors Day. And in fact, I think there's something called National Surveyors Week, maybe here in the US. So for those of you who celebrate this, I'm wishing you the same. You spoke very well about the book, and there's no need for me to add much. And I just wanted to re-emphasize, like you mentioned earlier, this is a practice-oriented book based on experience, years of experience, not necessarily, not only education-wise or technical background-wise, but based on professional experience as well. So the good news is, I know Nation already said how we came to be co-authors. And the good news with this book is that, you know, the publisher was very happy with the first edition, because the first edition, they were very successful in the reception worldwide, not only in the US, but, you know, in the rest of the world as well. People were happy with it. And that's why they were asking for a second edition. And in this second edition, we have come together to incorporate additional material like Nation already mentioned in those two areas. So this book will be your companion. It will be a guide to provide a reference, you know, a frame of reference for your realities in professional practice, and also to everybody else who is involved in geomatics or geospatial and land surveying, whether you are a student or you are a professor, lecturer in the university or in the private practice. So it's our very sincere attempt, the three of us, it's our very sincere attempt to provide key illustrative information that will add value to your world of practice. And this illustrative information, you can tailor them to your specific realities of whatever job you are doing. And I think the most important, or the key aspects of the book, like was mentioned earlier, include, for example, things to do with RFPs or bids. You know, how do you do scheduling? How do you do costing? How do you write proposals and things like that? So there's illustrations on these areas. And then we also cover those topical or thematic areas in part 3. And those are not necessarily, you know, detailed in theory, but they are oriented in such a way that they, you know, they relate you to what happens in the real world. And I also appreciate that Nation mentioned about, you know, what we go through when we do subjects like management for surveyors in the university. You know, this would be a very good content which is oriented for surveyors. Yeah. And the most important thing that I really think we should also emphasize is it's like a loop. It's a feedback loop. So we give you what we our best attempt or our best effort, we present it to you, and then you also give feedback. And through your feedback, we can iterate, you know, we iterate this book in future editions, which will be much, much better as well. So every edition should be better in future. So we would appreciate whatever feedback you have, whether it's written directly to us or whether you are giving comment elsewhere on our website, because we also have other places where you could give feedback. Like if you went to Amazon, you know, the website of the book on Amazon, you could also give feedback there if you bought the book through the Amazon website. So I think, yeah, I think that's all I needed to say. But most importantly, I really appreciate that you guys are supporting us in what we are doing. And through that support, we can, we are in turn also supporting the profession, our profession in a unique way. So yeah, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, maybe we'll be able to respond to them in this session. And if not, at any time, you can still reach out to us through Nation. Yeah. Thank you so much. And that's all I had to say today.
Thank you, Clement. So we can now go to this session for feedback. So under feedback, I would like to welcome the President of Young Surveyors Kenya. Frida, if you are there, can you say something in 1 minute or two?
Thank you, Nation, for your presentation and for your invite. And to the co-authors, Professor Clement and Dr. Derrick, thank you for taking it upon yourself to share this knowledge with us. As a young surveyor, I'm working in a project, and I also do some bit of freelancing. And I've come to appreciate that project planning is a whole big spectrum, from costing to writing the related activities to creating the schedules. I've had Professor Clement mention about it, to variations in case the projects change. All these are the factors that we need to put together when you are tackling a project, but this is not information that is everywhere. So when I look at this book and I look at the table of contents, I saw we have the project design process, we have the things about the ethics, we have the planning and design that is specific on the things that you do, because most of the planning I think I've encountered is for engineering. But when we have for boundary surveys, something that we do for topographical surveys, these are things that we need to know. And this is the content that as young surveyors and also as practicing surveyors of Kenya and globally, we need to consume. So I'm looking forward to read the book and get guidance from the book from a geomatic perspective. And I encourage all of us to get a copy of the book. You know, as young surveyors, in the networking forums that we have, or also at a personal capacity, usually get a project. For example, I'm in Nairobi, I get a project in Mombasa. I'm required to do a topographical survey in Mombasa. Instead of doing maybe my mathematics, I just call someone in Mombasa. How much do you usually charge for a topo in Mombasa? Someone says 100K. But that 100K that they are charging, they've just done their math. They have not considered that you are going to use logistics to move to Mombasa, probably spend 2 days if you are going maybe by bus, or a few hours if you are going by flight. And those are hours that you should charge. So I believe when you read this book, you are going to get all those aspects. How should you cost your project? What should you consider? And we are all going to be better at what we do. So Mr. Nation and team, thank you so much for bringing this book together. And at the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, we always treasure your input, Nation and team, in mentoring the young surveyors. I remember we were with you at the Young Surveyors Baraza, and we are super appreciative of your input to the profession. Thank you. Back to you, Nation.
Thank you, Frida. And now we can go to early adopters. Anyone who already has a copy of the book and would like to give feedback?
Nation, can I say something? This is me again.
Yes.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention that the book is actually officially coming out today. So I know some people have been wanting to get a copy, but because of logistical challenges, it takes a while. So Just asking that you be patient. If you need a copy and you're not able to get a copy, just be patient because it takes a bit of time. But it's actually being officially released today. And it's coinciding with this meeting, which is very good here. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you, thank you. So Kenya Chamber of Mines, any representative with us can say something? I think I saw Nasubo here.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes.
So I'm from the mining industry, and as mining engineers, we're excited to go through this book. There have been many books that have been written before, but they haven't incorporated the mine survey bit. And as we all know, mine surveying is very important in the safety, in ensuring the safety of mines, mapping out and monitoring even of like monitoring the different activities that go on in a mine, the tailings area, the crushing area. So it's very important. So we're really excited to go through this book and we're looking forward to learning a lot as mining engineers. Thank you.
Thank you. Irene Kenya representative and Irene Kenya or an actors representative. And actors is a global organization that promotes the application of business and innovation skills by university students to promote shared prosperity in a sustainable world. And this month we had the president of Enactors Global visiting Kenya. So I give this chance to Enactors or Irene Kenya and any representative, faculty, or student. I think I saw Paul Njinu somewhere. Paul Njinu.
Yes.
Can you speak on behalf of Enactors students?
I'm Paul Njinu, the former president of Enactors Taita Taveta University. I am honored to be part of this book launch, to be part of the members of attending this book launch. And as Enactors, and as an Enactors member, as well as a mining engineering student, I'm eager to learn more about surveying. I've interacted with chapter 10 of the book, which deals with mining surveys. And I think survey is a very important area to consider as a mining engineer, and I hope to apply more of what this book tries to expound in the field of mining survey. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. And now ISK. Sorry, before I go to ISK, Esri. Esri, before I go to ISK, I saw the CEO of Esri with us. Or is still engaged somewhere, then ISK, the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya. Any member?
Oh, Nation, it's me again, Frida, Young Surveyors Chair at ISK. Mr. Nyadimo has not been able to join due to that meeting that was ongoing for the licensed surveyors, but he also sends his warm regard and congratulates you for publishing the book. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So if we don't have S3 yet, then we can proceed to TTU. And I saw Christopher Masila from TTU somewhere. And Dixon Washira. Dixon, because you are available a minute or so.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. And I start by congratulating you for publishing this book and say that the generation that is there, mostly the mining engineers, they are now lucky that to have such a reference book that is specific to the mining sector, which as an area members already mentioned and highlighted, it was challenging for the mining engineers to really get content that is quite specific and customized to the mining industry. But now with this book, I am feeling lucky and to have such a reference, even as we train and teach the younger generation. So I'm looking forward to interacting with the book more and also utilizing it in the work and training going forward. Thank you.
So thank you, Dixon. And if we check the chat section, you'll be able to see that in the chat section, I've shared the presentation today. And there are links. Those links are active. So from the links, you can see the flyer with the table of contents. You can also get a link for ordering it online and links to the promotional material that we talked about. So it is now open for anyone with a question or comment. Don't feel locked out. Don't feel locked out. And we are just launching a poll there just for you to evaluate the session. Now it has been to you, the transmission, what you'd like to see more in future or in the subsequent editions. So there's a poll that has been launched there, which you can check. So meanwhile, if there's anyone with a comment, feedback, don't feel locked out before we close.
Hi, Nation, this is Clement here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to recognize, just from looking at this list now, I think I know at least one other person I'm connected to on LinkedIn. I think Frida. I don't know, maybe Frida and Nasubo or Nasubo. So I just wanted to mention, yeah, the networking is always important, you know, with these professional things. And I think Cliff as well, Clifford Okembo. I think we must be connected somewhere, maybe on LinkedIn. Yeah, Frida, Cliff, and Frida. Those are the people I think I'm connected to. So in other words, I'm open to, through professional connections, we can always connect, you know, on LinkedIn, the other people if they want to, yeah. And my specialty is, of course, we all come from, not all, but some of us come from University of Nairobi. That's where I graduated in 1997. And my specialty has been mainly, in a broader sense, geodesy, but more specifically on GPS and GNSS. But overall, we are still surveyors, we are still geomaticians and geospatial engineers. So I'm just happy to see all these people here. Yeah. And while I was talking, I can see somebody's joining, Paul Dache, or yeah. So just proud. I'm proud to see all these people here. Thank you.
Thank you, Clement. And just for those who have joined, we said we have not met physically as co-authors, but we are connected online thanks to digital connectivity on Zoom, virtual collaboration on Google Drive, and email. Microsoft should not feel left out because Microsoft is a big player. We use Microsoft Word to write the documents. So all these big players in digital connectivity and cloud services, we use their services, Zoom, Microsoft, Google. And I see Paul that has just joined us. Is one of the early adopters who has a copy of the book already. And Paul Dache is a surveyor here in Kenya with a keen interest in GNSS, unmanned aerial systems, and engineering surveys. So Paul Dache, before you joined, you were saying that early adopters of the book, those who have a copy of the book, are given a chance to say something. Any immediate feedback you may want to give. Paul Dache. As he prepares the microphone, maybe Christopher Masila, your hand is raised. I know you are in the area of business intelligence, but you need mapping, you need geospatial technology to enhance business intelligence with location-based intelligence. So I believe you have something to say from Taita Taveta University, Christopher.
Yes, thank you, colleague Nation, and I want to congratulate you. And one thing that I thank God about you is that you always have something good to offer. And being an accountant by profession, I want to say that the sky is just a limit. Continue doing good work and mentoring a young generation, me included, and show us the way. And I know we also pray for more to come, and may God give you more ideas as you continue doing good. So on behalf of my colleagues, I congratulate you, and I pray the book sells, because I'm a business person. At the end of the day, the output is we need money, and money, this is one way of getting money. And all of us are gearing towards making money in every engagement that you make. As you grow in your professionalism, you need money, money, money. So I congratulate you, and all the best, my brother.
Thank you, Christopher. Christopher is a colleague at Taita Taveta University, and he also lectures engineering students because they also have to take some units in that area. So we had Paul, and I also we also invited enactors, faculty, and students. I can see from MMU, we have Dr. Njuguna Njoki Esther, MMU. I know MMU can be multimedia university. It could also be Masinde Muliro University. I don't know which one is which. So Esri Eastern Africa, the CEO of Esri Eastern Africa is back with us. And as we say that when we are talking of geomatics, it is a big umbrella. And the title of this book is Project Design for Geomatics Engineers and Surveyors. We selected that title because surveying is also broad. The surveying fraternity also includes valuation surveyors. We have others, building surveyors. We have quantity surveyors. And so we didn't want to leave anyone out. So the choice of words was also informed by that reality. And the expanded umbrella of geomatics, including geoinformatics, which nowadays in Kenya is a degree program on its own, taking 4 years at Taveta University, for example, and at Dedan Kimathi University. And these are people who are, we can call them geodata managers, and they do a lot of programming. And we also need them in this wide umbrella of geomatics. So that is why the title of the book was deliberately chosen to be Project Design for Geomatics Engineers and Surveyors, to be responsive to the surveying fraternity as it is. Surveyors are not just land surveyors. We also have valuation surveyors, quantity surveyors, and other finer or granular divisions of the same, even mining surveyors. So let's come to Esri, and I believe the CEO of Esri has something to say. We welcome you.
Well, thank you very much, team, starting with the editorial or the team of authors who have done such a great publication, Nation and the rest. So Professor Clement, thank you so much for this great book. I saw a preview of it and also listening to the presentation. I was like, this is really a great piece of work that is going to support all different phases of the geomatics work, be it in terms of the projects that are done and at the industry level or in the field. Field here means the actual implementation work, but also in the academia, the students, the researchers. I believe this is a great job that has been done, and I encourage guys to look at it. The last book, actually the first book that I read about project management in GIS or in geomatics was actually by Roger Tomlinson, which now I think is a very old book, but it laid down some principles, and I'm glad that we are now looking at project management in a new way, because a lot of things have changed. Yes, the profession is still the same, but a lot of things have changed, different ways of doing things, technologies and approaches. You talk about the AIs, you talk about the machine learning and many other things that have now come, the drone and many other things. But you also have totally different people who are there in the field, people who, right from the students, the current generation, we call them the Generation Z, I think so, who actually thinks very differently and approach the world in a very different way based on, again, the tools that they have at hand. And so I'm glad that this book is covering all these current and new ways of doing things. And so thank you so much, the team of authors for bringing this, and I wish you the very best. Whoever has not seen the book, I mean, I encourage you to get a copy and have it for yourself, and also share with many. So thank you so much, and we are happy to associate with you on this. Thank you.
So thank you, Clifford, CEO of Esri Eastern Africa. And it is good that you have talked about AI, which is disruptive, and the book also under a topic, under the chapter, a chapter there, topic of GIS application. We are also keen enough to include prospects of AI, big data, and machine learning for the data-driven or geodata-driven digital revolution. So we have also introduced that in the book. And unmanned aerial systems, we are also cognizant of miniaturization of sensors and how that will accelerate the collection of geospatial data for decision support. And the future can only be more and more interesting. If I would say, I could share with you some of the immediate feedback I got from those who have read the book. Apart from reorganization of chapters so that control surveys come before boundary surveys, there are also those who are keen on these national reference systems. And I know many surveyors in Kenya have raised that issue. So if there are best practices in the world, how some countries have addressed this for harmonization of standards, then that one will be something that we can explore more on or talk about in the next edition. But Professor Gaja, as a geodesist, maybe can add one or two on that, or as they say, adding his 2 cents on that to that. For example, you have this Cassini, and in Kenya, Cassini, then WGS 84, then UTM, and many surveyors in the field out there have decried the lack of harmony and interoperability or standardization, because referencing is key to ensuring that we can work seamlessly and report to comparable standards. Thank you. I don't know, Professor, if you have anything to add on that, given your experience, your studies and experience in Kenya, now exposure internationally in the United States and Australia.
Hi, Nation. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, all right, thank you. I doubt if I have much to add here, but I can say something only, to give us a wider perspective, because yeah, at the end of the day, I know, like the story, I can talk about the US right now. For example, the story in the US, it's not directly comparable to what is happening back home in Kenya, because, and again, systems depend on legislations, and they depend on demand by the profession. So similar thing here in the US, they are currently doing some modernization of something called NSRS, so National Spatial Reference Systems, because we have existing geodetic systems that they consider outdated because newer technologies have come in, and data systems are different. I don't know so this is technology driven in a way, and I believe it's happening worldwide, because if you look at just land surveying profession alone, so the most commonly used tool nowadays GPS or GNSS. And I believe the same thing is proliferating in Africa too. Because I know a few people, like I know in Kenya we have networks, GNSS networks, reference system, course networks. I know of somebody in Uganda too with their own private course networks, and Rwanda the same story. So if there's a demand, depending on the clients we serve, if there's a demand to harmonize things, it will be driven by demand. And if there's a need to harmonize things, yeah. So, and again, I don't know if in Kenya we use, I've not done any research on this, or I've not done any inquiries. But I know we have online processing tools, like here in the US, we have something called OPAS, or online processing, online positioning something service, or user service, OPAS. So where you can go out to the field and with your GPS collect data, and then bring that data and then submit it online and get back results. And it will be tied to the system that is existing, the reference system that exists. And I apologize that I don't know. I'm ignorant when it comes to what happens on the ground in Kenya. So yeah, so we are, as a matter of fact, where I work right now, the National Geodetic Survey, our main task, the project team's main task is to modernize the software that processes GNSS data. So they have different challenges, and the idea is to include all the constellations in the processing, because nowadays, everybody, when you collect data, it will collect GPS, Galileo, GLONASS, and so forth. And yet the existing system will only process GPS, which is tied to, it will still be tied to the national reference system, but having more of those GNSS processed also has its own benefits. So I know my answer is long-winded and probably doesn't even make sense, but in other words, I'm ignorant. I don't know what to say in terms of what is happening on ground in Kenya. I know some people know better than I do, and this is why we need feedback, and feedback will inform us. It's a learning process both ways. So you guys know some things that we don't know, or as an author, there are some things I don't know. I may know more about standards in a broader sense, FIG standards, ISO standards, but when you zero in on the Kenyan scenario, then I'm less informed, and that's where feedback will help us. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that feedback. And now a challenge to us in Kenya and practicing surveyors in Kenya. Is there a real demand for it? Is it demand driven? And you can see it is an ongoing process. Even in other countries, this issue of harmonization of standards. So far so good. We have had a good session. So what we are saying is that if you have any question, if you cannot talk, you can send it to the chat section, or you can raise your hand if you can speak. But overall, we have presented what we wanted to share with you today. So the rest is to get a copy of the book. And we'll also ensure that our libraries in Kenya can have the books so that we can promote readership. As you saw during the presentation, the youth must read to lead. And now we have a modern library, Kenya National Library Service. The headquarters in Nairobi was very much improved. It is modern. And soon it will also be launching its virtual wing, virtual library system. And Suffice to say that this book also has ebook version. So you will not be left out when it comes to going with the mega trends of the time. So thank you. And now, unless there's any question, any comment, we are now going to close the session. And I ask you to fill in the evaluation. There's a poll or a survey, meeting evaluation survey that has been shared there. We have had 5 responses. So if you can respond and rate the session, it will be good feedback for us. Otherwise, thank you for joining, and we'll be happy to interact with you further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and you can now leave at your own pleasure. See you at the next session that we shall organize. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, it seems hello, Eric.
Yeah, Nation.
Yeah, in
Hello.
fact, we've just finished. So
Wow.
yeah, and Clement was
We
here.
we have just finished the ALASK meeting, so it went a bit late.
Yeah, Frida reported to us the same, but because this link is still on, do you think there are some other members who may want to join so that I can repeat the short presentation?
I'm not sure. Okay, I know we have just left maybe like 30 minutes ago, so maybe they are still driving. So maybe the meeting took longer than we expected. So we thought that we would finish before.
Yeah, that is what Frida reported to us.
Yeah.
But if there's a real need, if the members who are at the meeting would like to get just what we discussed, the PowerPoint presentation is short, then I can just go over it again.
Okay.
Get any feedback. I can also report what Clement shared from the United States,
Yeah.
especially the challenges we are facing with the reference system harmonization,
Yeah.
and the feedback to the request for the third edition.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know whether you want to do that to go through the presentation, or maybe we organize a special meeting with the ALASK members.
Yeah, that is also a good
I'm
option.
sorry, I missed this. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good option. We can organize another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I think we can arrange for that, because the two meetings coincided and it took too long. Sorry about that.
Yeah, noted. Thank
Okay.
you. So I think we'll organize another one, and you'll let me know. Thank you.
It's okay, fine. Thanks. How many people came altogether?
We had about 20.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry. And let's arrange.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Bye.